96 Honda Civic. It's a CX Hatch, or some people like to call it EK. It's old. It's almost 20 years old. Therefore, it does not have the original horsepower that it left the factory with, which was 105. This probably has about 95, maybe 90. It's old. It doesn't have any upgrades to it other than a cold air intake and a painted valve cover. So it's not the fastest Honda out there. It's not the prettiest Honda out there, but it's mine, and it's custom. It's the way I like it. This car has almost 230,000 miles on it. Still the original motor, the original transmission. So I feel like it's quite a trooper, and I apologize for the sun in the background. It's getting a little iffy right here to film, but this is like the best angle I could get. I have timed the 0 to 60 in this car. It's not very fast. I think last time I timed it, it was like 10 or 11 seconds. So, not fast, but it's not really that, I mean, I've had slower. So, I used to own a Mercedes. It was a 240 diesel, 1982. It was an old car. And I clocked that one at 0 to 60, and it was over 30 seconds. So I think the fact that this one is under 15 for me is pretty good. And I've seen Hondas that can go, you know, quarter mile in 8 seconds. I've seen some fast ones. I don't have a fast one. I haven't built this. I've thought about it many times and still haven't decided if it's worth putting all the money into yet, because there's a lot of stuff that would need to go into this car before I actually make it worth it. As far as the motor goes, it's completely stock minus the cold air intake that I mentioned earlier. It is the D16Y7 motor, so nothing fast. It's just a single overhead cam. It's non-VTEC. There's just some things that I would have to do, like struts definitely would need to be done if I was going to try to build it out into something else. Some control arms for sure. A lot of the bushings, the rubber bushings that are original on this car, are starting to give out, and it gets a little wobbly when you get to like a grooved road or something like that. But that would be about what I would need to do to make this worthwhile, building the motor out at least to get it to go a little faster. But the car is really nimble. The steering, there's no power steering, there's no power windows, there's no power locks. It is the most basic Honda you can get, or you could get at the time. And I love it. It's not complicated, it's really simple to use. And yes, it might be a little slow, or might feel slow in like a 0 to 60, but because it's so small, it feels fast. And it handles really, really well. You can throw it into corners. You'll get a little body roll, but it's, you know, it's not bad. It's very controlled. And it's a blast to drive. I love how the seats are really low, and you don't feel like you're sitting in a normal chair. Like your legs are quite a ways in front of you, and you're sitting relatively close to the floor. And I like that feel. It gives it that go-kart feel, or that race car feel. And that's what I like a lot about the seating position and the interior cabin of this car. Some of the things that I have done to the car since I've owned it, I replaced the headliner. It was gray and all fallen apart and torn up and stuff, so I replaced it, made it black. I like the black look a lot better than, it was like a really, really light tan gray color. Just not a good color choice at all. So I replaced it to gray, but then all these trim panels up here, those were the light gray as well to go with the interior. And stripped all that out, painted it black to match the top. So kind of tried to get it into like a single tone interior as opposed to that two-tone. It's like a dark gray and then a light tan up top. So I try to switch it so it's a dark gray down top, down low, and a black on top. I have painted the valve cover. So the valve cover looks pretty cool. I did have like graphics on it that I used Plastidip some, like just some graphics on the side that I did myself. So those were pretty cool, but they started to peel and crack, so they were like, I don't know, a year and a half, almost 2 years old. So I decided to peel that off, and been trying to figure out what kind of design I want to do again. So I've been thinking, might do like a camo paint look, like a gray, a black, and a white, and then over top of the red body. So get those 4 colors. Kind of thinking about it. Also thought about doing a two-tone paint job. Paint the lower half of the car one color and the upper half a different color. So I don't know, we'll see. I like this car for 2 reasons. One, it's a manual. I love manuals. It's the way to go. I just feel way more in tune with the vehicle than if it was an automatic. You know, you put it into drive in an automatic and you just go. You don't have to worry about anything. In a manual, you get to select which gear you want to be in, which in turn basically lets you decide what kind of fuel mileage you're going to get, what kind of speed you're looking for, and how much fun you want to have. So that's the first reason. The second reason, it's 2 doors, it's a hatch, but being a manual and a 2-door is really what I'm looking for in a vehicle. I love sportier little vehicles. No, my Honda is not super sporty, so don't get that idea. It just feels a little go-karty, I guess. It's small with the manual and the low seating setup that you have in this car. It feels good. It feels correct or right. It feels sporty to me, and I like it.